unbeatable here.
Oh, R.07 si è cappottata!
Back on four wheels, she's still going! The first hit right next Prix goes to Rosberg X Racing. Watch for the merge here, who's going to come out in front? Oh, contact, massive shot! I think that's Christopherson into Sainz. R.07 still running.
Hai vinto Tulischi, scorpassa all'interno per la testa della corsa.
Rosberg X Racing take victory here in Sardinia. Double win here for R.07. They are well and truly back in the title fight.
Sono inarrestabili.
R.07 Sainz are hungry for victory here on the island. They still lead the championship. Can they hold on?
Hello and welcome to Extreme, where we're in Sardinia for the Island X Prix. I'm Jess Rogers and alongside me is the wonderful Andrew Coley.
Sardinia is one of the toughest challenges in motorsport. Boiling temperatures, rocks, boulders, ruts, and now we've added water. Just completing a single lap takes sublime skill and courage, not to mention the world's best drivers attacking you at every turn.
Extreme was founded as a sport with purpose, with environmental values and equality at its core. This event, we focus on equality, meeting the leaders delivering extreme racing in extreme locations. And on track, 50% of the field is female, competing side by side with their male competitors.
We are now at the business end of the season. This course will deliver spectacular action and it will snatch the title dreams of the drivers if they are not 100% focused 100% of the time. It's game on in the championship here at the Island X Prix. Well, we of course started season 3 down in Saudi Arabia. Neon, hydrogen and biodiversity was the theme. R.07 Sainz winning race 2, Veloce winning race 1. Those two teams still very much in the championship fight. From Saudi Arabia, somewhere a little bit wetter.
Yeah, we headed to Scotland. Dumfries and Galloway was the location. Mud and rocks was the terrain. And X44 Vida Carbon came out in top there, with Veloce Racing taking second place.
On to Sardinia last time out, Rosberg X Racing taking both the wins. Back in July, the temperatures there were incredibly high, which of course highlighted our theme of wildfires here on the island. And we've come back to Sardinia for some more action. Fantastic doubleheader for you this weekend. RXR crossed the finish line here in first place all 5 times. DQ'd once for contact after the start. Can they do the same again this weekend and take hold of that championship?
And the finale of season 3 will take us back down to South America, to Chile, to Antofagasta. It's going to be serious stuff in December, and we can't wait. It's all going to be set up after these rounds 7 and 8.
So this is how we stand in the championship coming here for rounds 7 and 8 of the Island X Prix. R.07 Sainz leading on 109 points, but Rosberg X Racing with the double win last time out on 105. And you can see Veloce Racing still very much in touch. GMC Hummer EV Chip Ganassi Racing a slightly more outside chance than the rest of the teams really after this weekend. Unless they have an absolutely perfect mega weekend, it's going to be tricky for them to stay in the championship fight for those final rounds.
Yeah, absolutely. And looking down the end of the table, you've got McLaren at 44, you've got Abt at 40. But now we're going to look at what happened in qualifying 1.
Qualifying underway in Sardinia with Q1. McLaren, Emma Gilmore injured in FP1. Tamara Molinaro standing in for her and left standing on the start line. Fantastic scrap though down in towards turn 1. This wide right-hander, super slippery. It was Timo Scheider who got away in front of the championship leader Matthias Ekstrom. You can see how muddy it was out there in those big new water splashes. Contact down at the first corner on the second lap. Ekstrom goes up the inside. Timo Scheider then gets the overlap. They end up side by side, and that was pretty much how the entire lap went on. Tiny little slip here from Leah Block. They were half a second apart on the way in, and they were half a second apart on the way out, but this time it was the R.07 Sainz machine that led with Laia Sanz at the wheel. Leah Block on only her second event doing a fantastic job to go with championship leader Laia Sanz. Brilliant performance, but it was a win and a championship point for R.07 Sainz in that first race. On to race 2 and an incredibly even start of the line. Look on the left-hand side. Timmy Hansen's got that inside line alongside Johan Kristoffersson. He pitches the car up on 2 wheels, contact them with the RXR machine, and it's Fraser McConnell left to pick up the pieces. He goes through to take the lead. Very close race between McConnell and Johan Kristoffersson ensued. So close, in fact, there was a little bit of contact between them. But X44 held on the way into the switch zone. On the way out, however, technical issue for Cristina Gutierrez, pulls over to the side of the road. Now RXR are in the lead. Looking like they're going to pick up that championship point and match up with Acciona Science. There was confusion over a slow zone. Clara Anderson for Abt Cooper got the message, blasted past into the lead. Molly Taylor then went past Arlen Kotlinski, so RXR down to 3rd. Fantastic driving and awareness from Abt Cooper and Clara Anderson. They took the win and a championship point. Veloce P2 and a disappointed RXR taking 3rd place. Advantage Acciona Science.
Well, our championship leaders coming into this round, Acciona Science, have had pretty much a perfect morning. Laia Sanz joins me now. A win, and you're leading the Continental Traction Challenge as well. But we know in Extreme you can't take much for granted. How are you feeling?
Yeah, for the moment we are doing a good job, but as I was telling you, here the luck changed really quick, so we need to keep being focused, doing our job. We know that we have a good rhythm, we can be competitive, but we need to, to avoid mistakes, to try to do good starts and clean runs, and we'll see. Now we are focused on Quali 2. Our goal is to be in the final, but it's cool that we have 1 extra point from Hit 1, and for the moment we're leading the Traction Challenge. That also is nice because championship points we are all very, very close.
Yeah, those points really matter, don't they? Talk me through the start as well. Which grid slot do you think at the moment is preferable?
We have I choose number 5, we choose for first, and we thought that 4 could be a bit better, but then in number 5 you have the inside in the first turn to the right. If you do the perfect start, then maybe you have the leading, so let's try it.
Yeah, let's see. Well, best of luck to you. Thank you very much indeed, Laia. Good luck.
Thanks.
So then, after that first qualifying session, you can see Acciona Science at the top of the table, equal with Abt Cooper, 10 points for each of those. Those qualifying points for Q1 and Q2 get added up for the total down the right-hand side. Now, the top 5 teams go through to the grand final. The bottom 5 teams end up in the redemption race. If you're on that crucial cut-off between 5th and 6th, that can come down to the Continental Traction Challenge. So if you're drawn on points, the faster team in the Continental Traction Challenge will be the one that goes through. The results of Q1 give us the grid for Q2, so you can see how the cars are going to line in that second session. Got some fantastic lineups there, and undoubtedly going to be some exciting racing as we had in Q1 as well. So stay with us. Plenty more fantastic racing from Sardinia, round 7 of Extreme E to come. Now, we've got some brilliant drivers in this series, and of course 50-50 split between male and female drivers. This is Amanda Sorensen. We're also going to catch up with Molly Taylor, but Sorensen made such a brilliant debut this year. She has impressed me with just how fast she's been. Immediately in the car, immediately on the pace, with nowhere near as much experience in the Odyssey 21 as some of the other drivers have got. Molly Taylor, of course, as well. Molly was the Season 1 champion alongside Johan Kristoffersson. She's now at Veloce Racing alongside Kevin Hansen. Formidable drivers, they really are. You know, making up half the squad has a huge influence on how quick a team can be. Laura caught up with them earlier.
The wind really whipping up now in the paddock, and Molly Taylor joins me of Veloce. 2 wins already to your name for this season, and a P2 earlier on as well. What are your thoughts heading into qualifying? We'll take a stroll down what is a very busy paddock as well.
Yeah, it's very busy here. But yeah, like a clean start. Kevin had the last pick of the draw, so he did an awesome job. And yeah, there was a bit of confusion with the slow zones that were there and not there, so it was a bit of a confusing race, but a clean one for us outside of that. So yeah, we'll just look forward and try and put another clean one in the bank now.
Talk us through what happened in the car there in terms of the communications around that slow zone.
Yeah, so we had a message originally that said there was a slow zone between waypoint 2 and 3. That came up on the dash, and then that was confirmed just sort of as I was going over the finish and sort of into that first right-hander, confirmed from the team that there's a slow zone. So I went up to waypoint 2, slowed down, and then once I was in that slow zone, a message came through from our team that there wasn't a slow zone and to go, which was a bit confusing at that point because, yeah, to know like what was actually going on. But anyway, yeah, I so then took off the pit limit and we went again, and yeah, it's a bit of a shame to sort of have that stuff in the middle of a race, but outside of that, all good.
Well, hopefully a cleaner, smoother race for you this time around. Thanks so much, Molly. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we're going to head now into Chip Ganassi, and Amanda Sorensen is here. Amanda, hello, how are you doing? Thoughts on this morning and what you're expecting in qualifying 2 now?
This morning was pretty smooth. The track conditions were completely different today than they were yesterday in practice. A lot of water down on the track, so definitely different driving style. We set the car up for it though, so we were pretty good going through it. RJ and I have a pretty good strategy going into Heat 2. I think I'm pretty stoked to be lined up who we're lined up against. We have Tanner, we have Molly. You know, it's a good lineup, so it's definitely going to be tough competition, but we're going to push through it, and I think we need a P3 and higher in order to advance to the finals. So we have our goals and we're shooting for them.
Yeah, the final's got to be the big goal, isn't it? Can you imagine a podium?
Yeah, it's definitely in the midst, especially after what happened in the last round. So we're coming back strong.
Oh, I love it. Fighting talk from Amanda Sorensen. Thank you very much. Best of luck to you.
Thank you.
Let's take a look at the track here in Sardinia. A different layout to last time. You can see the start now comes in away from the lanes. The lanes are on the exit of the switch zone. It's a very, very long, fast start straight with a jump over the finish line down to a tight right-hander. And we've also got a couple of huge water splashes out there, Jess.
Yeah, absolutely. They are favourably called Aqua Grande, which we like it, don't we?
Well,
you
definitely. I mean, Aqua Grande suits you very much, doesn't it? I mean, it's a good old muddy water splash, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just a water splash, but there we go.
Yeah, 2 of them, big, wide, deep water splash is going to have a big effect, as we saw in Q1, on how the cars behave. It really sucks the pace out of the cars, and if you're not first through it, or if you're super close behind the car in front, you get absolutely covered in mud.
Yeah, it really affects visibility there, and sometimes it might actually be a benefit to be behind someone going straight in, so you've got more speed going through that. But of course, we have got the Continental Traction Challenge where you can get a valuable 2 championship points if you've got the fastest combined time in your team there. Yeah,
really important. If you think about Acciona Science lead when we come here by just 4 points, they've won 6 points this year in various different Continental Traction Challenges, so yeah, absolutely key to try and win those extra points, where it's so close at the top. It really is.
Yeah, it really is, and it has been epic so far. And if you're new to Extreme, then, well, have a look at how it works, because this is what XE looks like.
Extreme is a fully electric on-road racing championship consisting of 10 world-class teams made up of 1 male and 1 female driver. In each session, both drivers will compete behind the wheel of the Odyssey 21 electric SUV, with a driver changeover, the switch, halfway through. Each driver gets an Innoa hyperdrive boost in every session, and there are bonus points for the fastest team through the Continental Traction Challenge section of the course. First up, it's qualifying, where everybody races twice in a bid to finish as high as possible in the qualifying standings. Then it's time to earn some championship points. From qualifying, the bottom 5 teams go into the redemption race, while the top 5 proceed to the grand final and compete to win the Prix and lift the trophy. It's a season-long battle, 10 rounds, 1 champion.
Attention all teams, this is race control. Stand by for the start of the Island X Prix. Qualifying round 2, Heat 1 is about to commence. Energize your systems and prepare to race.
Pressure on them, Q2. Some of these teams need an absolute banger of a result here to stand the slightest chance of making the grand final. Who's going to get the job done? A switch of drivers, of course, so the opposite driver that took the start in Q1 will take the start in Q2. Fraser McConnell looking super chilled out. Not even got his lid on yet. You can see some of the others are absolutely ready to go. There is Tamara Molinaro. getting into the McLaren race suit. She's standing in for Emma Gilmore, remember, who is injured from a crash in free practice yesterday. Spectacular crash. We are very glad that she's okay. That's your lineup. Acciona Science, Veloce, Hummer EV Chip Ganassi Racing, X44 and McLaren. And it is X44, McLaren and Andretti Autokil. It will be in the next race, who are at the bottom of the 10 teams. Really need a win if they're going to go through, a proper win. Out front, P2's probably not going to be good enough for any of those teams. 30 to go.
Yeah, they really have to get some points here because it's the combined total of their points in the first qualifying and points from the second, which means that they go through to the grand final. And if they don't go through to that, they go through to the redemption race where you just can't get as many points and you can't win.
Innova Hyperdrive, it's a boost of 100 kilowatts. Last time out, we saw everybody using that off the start line to try and get down to turn 1 first. Wait for the green light, and then you should see who goes for it. And straight away, 4 out of the 5 teams, and the 5th one, Laya Sands uses it as well. So it's Sands and Taylor on the inside line. Laya Sands with the best start. Gutierrez equal to them, but with that inside line, Laya Sands should be able to hold on to this if she goes deep on the brakes. Tanner Faust, watch for him in the McLaren at the back. He'll go for high-low. Doesn't get it, though. Gets nudged wide by Sorensen. So Amanda Sorensen with the Chip Ganassi Racing car, they just slid a little bit wide. Got a message from Tanner in between sessions saying this is effectively their first laps in the car, and he held 2 of the fastest sectors. So they're doing a good job using the championship car, but obviously work for them to do to try and make it through. He's sitting in P9 at the moment. So it's Laya Sands who leads. Her teammate Matthias Ekstrom and her lead the championship standings. They won their first qualifying race. It's very much their advantage, and that we wanted to hold on to this.
Yeah, absolutely. They had an absolute stormer of qualifying race one. And just talking about McLaren there, they are using the championship car, and they did have a 30-second penalty. Does that still stand in the second qualification as well?
Only in the first one. So that's the penalty for swapping cars effectively rather than repairing your own. But I just don't think they would have had time to do it. Look at the dust. Veloce losing time there. In the background is visibility. Sebastian Loeb was saying he couldn't see a thing. You can see, look at the mud over the Veloce car. Tanner Faust up behind. Who's dropped back off the back of the pack? Sorensen's dropped right back, so a problem for Hummer EV Chip Ganassi Racing. Laya Sands under pressure from Gutierrez again here. Look, dust in the middle of the corner, then wet on the way in, wet on the way out. The grip levels are constantly changing for these drivers. Seriously challenging. Sorensen's a long way back. Something happened there which we didn't see.
Yeah, she's a good 7 seconds behind Veloce or so there, which something must have happened. But out in front, Laya Sands is just showing how it's done, and quite close behind is Christina Gutierrez of X44. They were doing so well in qualifying 1. Fraser McConnell got them into the switch in first place, and then just dropped behind.
Tanner Faust starting to attack. So Tanner Faust here for Neil McLaren. Say their first laps were in this car in the last session. Faust right out to the edge of the track. He's on a mission here. He knows they need a good result to just desperately try and scrape through. 12 points would be the absolute limit to make the final. They're really relying on someone who's had good points, having a bad run this time out. Seeing how random the last session was, there's every chance of that, but they've got to fight their way up through this field as much as they can. He'll be handed over to Tamara Molinaro. Laya Sands has just managed to edge a little gap over Gutierrez.
But Tanner Faust is coming in hot there, isn't he? It is 10 points for a win, and actually 11 because you get an extra one, don't you? And then...
Well, the 10 is the qualifying points, the 1 is the championship point. So yep. 1 point goes on your championship score, the 10 is just to get the cars in order. Look at the angle on Faust's car there, backing it in, putting rotation on the car really early. You can see how wet it is on the left-hand side of the track as well, so you're looking for traction, trying to find that bit of grip. 2.39 between Acciona and X44. It's 3.1 then back. Here's the big water splash. And as long as you're not right behind another car, your visibility's good. It's when you're right behind another car, it's the mud afterwards. Now, how far back? Only 10. So GMC Hummer EV Chip Ganassi Racing are still in this. They're around 10 seconds off. So they haven't lost any time since the first lap. If this continues as it is, Acciona Science winning both sessions, that would put them on 20 qualifying points. So they would obviously be absolutely guaranteed to go through. They might even be the top qualifiers. We have the second race still to come. And remember, RXR only got P3 in their race. So they've lost a championship point already in that time fight. And they'll be wanting to get a wiggle on the next one, see if they can nick one back.
Yeah, McLaren definitely want to get a position here to be able to get some points. They're just even be in contention for that grand final race later. But what we've seen so far is that anything can happen. So you just need to stay, even though Sorensen is 13 seconds behind, anything can happen because a car can stop, you can roll, your wipers can stop working. We saw it in the first race. We thought Fraser McConnell, you know, was going to be out in front, and then Gutierrez, the car stopped on the side and we didn't know what was going on. Yeah, into the switch zone now for Sanso, comes in 30 kilometers an hour. What are the gaps on the way in? 2.0 between them, and then further 2.5 back to Tanner Faust. Well, you can see them. That's pretty much bang on. So a couple of seconds in between. I'd suggest another 2.5, 3 seconds back. Yeah, it's 3.5 back to Veloce. Now you need a perfect switch. So last time out, we saw a half-second gap on the way in, and it went half a second the other way round on the way out. Faust is in. He'll switch the car into neutral. As soon as it's in neutral, the other team members can enter that switch zone. In comes Sorensen. So Faust gets out, Molinaro will get in. I wonder if we can listen in and see what any of these drivers are saying to each other about conditions. So saying, places is a little muddy, but it's okay. Fraser tightens up the lap belts. Tanner heads out to the side of the switch zone there. 10-second penalty, car 44. Ah, that's X44. That's an absolute disaster. They were in P8 coming into this session. A 10-second penalty now would see them drop down to within the reaches of GMC Hummer EV Chip Ganassi Racing. So Chip Ganassi Racing need to let their drivers know if you can get 2 seconds up the road, you'll get at least P4, because the 10-second penalty will drop them down. So they will let their driver know. R.J. Anderson jumping into the car there. We head out now with Ekstrom leading. P2 will be Fraser McConnell, but carrying that 10-second penalty. P3 should be the McLaren. Tamara Molinaro at the wheel it is, and now Molly Taylor will be handing over to Kevin Hansen. So fair old gaps between the cars here, 1.52 seconds. You're going to see any crazy attack in at that range. We've got Patrick O'Donovan down in the commentary box for us. Patrick, how are track conditions looking, do you think, compared to Q1?
Yeah, I think the track conditions are improving slightly from what they were in Q1. You know, I had a chat with a few of the drivers here, and they've been saying that the first water splash is quite big, but obviously we knew that already. Chip Ganassi's definitely going to be trying to chase down Fraser, but I'm sure X44 are definitely going to be telling Fraser that he's got to keep that gap. He's got to keep over 10 seconds ahead of them, so he'll definitely be on an absolute charge here to keep ahead of them.
What's the vibe like in the paddock? Did you get an impression from some of the drivers about how they were feeling about that first session? Was some fair old disappointed faces about?
Yeah, there was a bit of disappointment. You know, I had a small chat with Katie and Timmy as well, so, you know, they're a little bit gutted, but hoping to get it back out for the rest of the day if they can, see what they can do. But, you know, a few of the other drivers trying to keep calm, you know, all up and down the paddock, there's some smiles. You know, Clara's always smiling, and you've got Johan and Michaela never give too much away, but, you know, it's, yeah, it's pretty good vibes. They're all out here enjoying themselves and eager to get back on track for the second race.
Thank you, Patrick O'Donovan, championship driver out in Sardinia, much appreciated. You saw it was R.J. Anderson using his Inoa hyperdrive. These drivers now, so off the start, you need that boost of power to try and take the lead, but everybody else is using it in the Continental Traction Challenge because there's points there too.
Yeah, there's 2 points per round for that. You can see there's 4 drivers still on the left-hand side of your screen there with a little blue icon, means they haven't used it yet, and they'll be reserving it to try and get the fastest time during that challenge, because it's the combined time of the male and female driver for each team throughout their laps to see who's got the best time combined, and whoever does gets that really important 2 championship points. They're so close at the top, that's really important. But Andrew, these cars, they're quite spread out. I mean, I say they're spread out, not so much there.
At the back here, R.J. Anderson is now all over the back of Tamara Molinaro. So Tamara desperately trying to hold on to this position. They will also be aware, remember, that McConnell's got that 10-second penalty. At the minute, McConnell's penalty would only drop them down 1 place. Sorry, not McConnell's, X44's penalty. I think it was Gutierrez that dropped the flag. Now they're all using it in that traction challenge section. At the minute, Tanner Faust holds that fastest sector, along with his teammate, Tamara. So no, Tanner had it the fastest, and Leah Block was the fastest female. Overall, it was actually Ona Sainz who were at the top of the Continental Traction Challenge, so they would be edging the gap out by 3 championship points as it stands. So they want to hold on to that as well. So the front 3 spread out. What's going on at the back of the pack, and how is that that gap at 19 seconds is enough. Tamara still holds on, way in the background of your shot. Look for the papaya orange coming into shot. You're on board now with Chip Ganassi Racing. So Tamara Molinaro is still holding on to that position from RJ Anderson. Anderson piling that pressure on. Anderson, whereabouts were they after the first session? Oh, again, zero visibility, absolutely nothing. Tamara now's got a little bit of a gap. RJ comes in on the handbrake. Tamara's run a bit wide, gets a bit too sideways. RJ gets good exit straight past. A little bit of contact at the side there, but he found the traction. Molinaro maybe with broken steering going straight on. That's a disaster for McLaren. It's a bit of a result though for X44. At the minute, even with a 10-second penalty, they'll only lose one place for dropping that waypoint flag. Acciona Sainz coming around. Fantastic drive again by Sands and Ekstrom.
Yeah, they look so at home on this course.
So win for them. X44 get P2, but they're going to get dumped further down. P3 goes to Veloce. Wow. Big old gap back to GMC. Their front left foot broken on Molinaro's car, so the McLaren's going to be parked out on track.
It's really not being their weekend. And what happens with that car then, Andrew? That's the championship car.
It'll be repaired. It's only a steering arm. It's not a big deal to fix it, but they're going to be in the definitely in the redemption race, unfortunately. Okay, you're looking there at the Acciona Sainz machine of Matthias Ekstrom. He's heading in because his teammate Laia Sands was at the wheel earlier on. She's in the command centre. We're going to go and have a catch up with her now. Laia, what a brilliant start to your weekend. You've won both your heat races, so that's an extra 2 championship points. As it stood coming into this session, you guys were also at the top of the traction challenge, 4 championship points. What's the strategy this weekend? Just maximum attack?
Yeah, as always, you know, it's not easy. Everything, you know, went well. But you never know, because in this championship, luck can change really fast. We did our best. We could win both heats. That was really important for these extra points, and it's good also to be leading the super sector, because I think we are really tight in the championship, and we need to push as much as possible.
Well, absolutely fantastic game plan so far. It's looking pretty hot out there. How hot is it in the cars? How much hard work is this?
It's hot. It's very humid. It's much better than the last time we've been here. It's not too bad, but yeah, when you are in the car, it's quite hot, and then with the tension of the race, trying to, you know, not get past, it's a bit stressful.
Well done, fantastic start to your weekend, and best of luck for the final later on today.
Thank you very much.
So the results of qualifying 2, heat 1, down in 5th place with a did not finish is McLaren, really unfortunate for them. And then Chip Ganassi Racing in 4th. In 3rd, X44 gets some crucial points. In 2nd, Veloce, but what a brilliant drive by Ekstrom and Laia Sands there for Acciona. They'll be very happy with their perfect start to the weekend so far.
Well, here's a bit of fun for you. Radio-controlled cars. Now, I love radio-controlled cars. It's actually my first experience of motorsport was racing radio-controlled cars. I'm going to be completely honest, I still race radio-controlled cars now. I'm a geek, and I love it, and I don't care what anybody thinks about it. As you can see, the bodywork is smashed off these cars as well, so, you know, at least the drivers are doing exactly the same out on track with these cars as they are with the real ones. This was Amanda Sorensen and R.J. Anderson had a little race around with the Inoa RC cars. Very nice. Right, if you've not seen Unfiltered, have a look at this. It's a behind-the-scenes look of what we get up to making this show for you.
Hollywood, you ready? You're rolling? Okay.
We have a new addition to Extreme E this weekend, and it is the young 16-year-old, amazing off-road super talent, Leah Block.
Well, you know, we're changing things, and the important thing is that she feels the changes, and she's analyzing what we're saying, and she's listening carefully. That's super cool. Good. And she seems confident as well, so she's sending it. Yeah. I love it.
So if you're just joining us, practice is delayed due to stormy conditions. The drivers from Carl Cox Motorsport and Acciona Sainz are basically stuck on Extreme E's floating paddock, the Santa Elena.
Yeah, they're stuck on the boat. They're stuck on the boat. Yeah, so 4 drivers, so Carl Cox and Adesina.
That's a new one. Holy shit. We are still not in the paddock, but we have been like waiting for like nearly 2 hours. We got a little wet.
A little bit.
A little bit. But we will make it and we will drive soon.
We can do this, guys.
Yeah.
This is all we can.
15 seconds. 7 miles. Cars on course.
Chris Dobson into the side of the App Cupra. The RXR is going fully off-road. Puncture for App Cupra. The rear left tyre is off the rim for Sebastian Loeb. Chris Dobson, looked after that off-track excursion, has come in P3.
That was a race. Yes!
Michaela Arlen-Kotlinski slides. Oh, Munnings! They've gone from potentially taking a win to lying on their side in the dirt. Arlen Kotlinski and Johan Kristoffersen with an incredible drive. They come back to take the win in round 5.
Whew. That was something. I feel sorry for Andretti though with that roll, but yeah, that's how it is.
Round 6 here in Sardinia. We had a change in the standings yesterday. Veloce have lost their position at the top of the championship table.
Veloce, shocker of a day yesterday. They missed the final. They must make it today in round 6. Oh, Pat bodywork coming off Scheider back up the inside. Kevin runs into the rear. Absolute carnage here. Kevin Hansen, there is no way he can see through that.
Everyone just out of the way because I can't see anything.
I pushed overtake, I did, and then it was fucking carnage.
I've never seen a car come back so.
Here we go then, grand final time from round 6 of Extreme E. Kristoffersen drops out, and Kristoffersen comes from the back of the pack to the lead. How has he done that? They've won both rounds in Sardinia. Another win for RXR.
Amazing, the start was crazy. And I could see 3 guys going into one, and I was like, this is our chance. And Johan just went flying through, like amazing, wow.
Like this!
And Extreme E is the race for the planet, and a big part of that is the power and how they generate it in a green way on site. Now, they actually take flexible solar panels with them to every event, and they get the free energy from the sun. It's just exceptional. That powers 100% of the TV camera equipment on course. But we're going to go over to Laura, who has been with Michaela Arlen-Kotlinski.
Racing fast approaching for qualifying 2, and there was a fair bit of confusion in the second race of qualifying 1 earlier on today. Michaela Arlen-Kotlinski of Rosberg X Racing joins me now. We'll take a little stroll down a very windy paddock. Talk me through what happened in your race earlier on with the slow zone, with what was communicated to you and what wasn't.
Oh yeah, so we had radio issues, so we couldn't hear anything on the radio, but actually radio is just a backup. Problem is though, on the dash, when you get info about the slow zone, you don't get any info whether the slow zone is cancelled or not. So, you know, I get the info on the slow zone about 2 to 3. And since the radio didn't work, yeah, like I said, no info that it is cancelled. So I approached to waypoint 2, slow down, as I was informed to do. And then I just see cars passing by. So it's really a shame. You know, it is what it is. Starting from position 3 now again in heat 2. So, yeah.
I guess you can use a bit of that frustration, take it out in anger at the start. What are your thoughts of this start here?
Yeah, I mean, you can see that you could do it very well from number 5, but also 3 was good. So I think it's all about just doing the best that we can out there and see where it heads to.
And look, a double win for you guys here last time out. What are the aims now, given a slightly rockier start this morning?
Now, of course, we want to take as many points as possible. That's always the goal, so that's what we're going for.
Thank you very much, Michaela. Best of luck to you. Thank you. And App Cupra did win that race earlier on, taking advantage of the communication issue with Rosberg X Racing. Cara is beaming next to me. How excited are you for this one?
Oh, really excited. It was a great race. You know, it wasn't easy. We had some issues for Seb with the wipers and the visibility, but yeah, came out of the switch P4 and ended up winning, so we're happy.
Just talk me through the water splash and the moment that you come through. From what we see on the onboards and from the angles, it looks incredible, it looks spectacular. What is it like to drive through?
Oh, it's extreme, that's for sure. I think on lap 1 I caught Molly and Michaela, and then I could see nothing. You know, it's like you hit the wall with the water and then it's all the mud and everything, so it's for sure tricky. But it's the same for everyone, and yeah, that's racing.
It's great to see you and Seb back again. Very quickly, what does it mean to you?
It means a lot. I really like Seb. I think the team works really well together, so I'm happy.
Great stuff. Well, yeah, you certainly look very happy out there as well with a win this morning. We'll see what happens as racing is coming up very soon indeed. Thank you so much to you, Clara. The wind whipping up, as I say, through the paddock. It is windy. The dust is coming up here as well. Racing is going to be fascinating a bit later on. We'll see.
Attention all teams, this is race control. Stand by for the start of the Island X Prix. Qualifying round 2, heat 2 is about to commence. Energize your systems and prepare to race.
There is someone pressing a radio button, I can hear.
That is Andretti Otakila. Timmy Hansen, what's going on?
Yeah, got racy there into turn 1 last time, and I was on 2 wheels on the inside and saved that, but hit a rock on the outside, and that rock caused quite massive damage to the car, and it's a huge job the mechanics have to do now. It's like a week's worth of job. They're trying to pull that together in 1 day and get us out at least for the redemption race. So we'll sit this one out, but hopefully these guys are working miracles at the moment. The welder's out and they're doing things that shouldn't be possible. So crossing fingers for redemption.
Oh, fingers crossed for you. Thanks, Timmy, for your time.
So that's a bit of a shocker.
Absolutely. We've only got 4 cars running in this qualifying to round 2 then. So unfortunately that means Andretti not going to be making the grand final.
So JBXC then are the ones who really, really need a win here. It's Backerud at the wheel for them off the start. Arlen Kotlinski for RXR, Leah Block for Carl Cox Motorsport, and Clara Anderson for Abt Cupra. As we've come to notice, everybody using an Noah Hyperdrive off the line here. Backerud on the far right-hand side of your screen. This is a must-win encounter for that team to make it through. RXR, Michaela Arlen Kotlinski's on the inside line, but Backerud backing it in towards turn 1. Nicely into the lead with an easy hole shot there. Leah Block at the back of the pack. Clara Anderson P3, and in P2 it is Michaela Arlen Kotlinski. So Backerud at the minute doing exactly what him and Hedda Hozos need to do for the entire of the next few minutes. They've got to cross the line P1 if they want to make it. P2 would be enough for RXR, but they would like that extra championship point for a win, so I'd expect them to try and pass as well.
Yeah, absolutely. But Backerud, that is exactly how JBXE would have wanted to have started this race. It is a must-win. But Carl Cox Motorsport, we saw them do so well in qualifying 1. They would want to do quite well here.
Yeah, Block's got through. Look in the background. So Leah Block's made a move somewhere on Clara Anderson. Anderson was ahead as they came out of that first waypoint. Backerud is gapping them here. 1.7, 2.02. So he's taken 0.3 a sector off P2 RXR. Clara Anderson, look at the mud splashing up over the screen. So, and in the background, Leah Block spun. Clara Anderson misses her, luckily. So Block's gone round. Don't know if that was visibility or she lost it on the brake. She's going to loop the car back round and rejoin the course through the deep ditch there. I think there's something wrong with that car. It's really struggling. It looks like it's pushing on in a straight line. Maybe lost traction, hard to tell. Not ideal. So Leah Block drops back. There we go. Leah Block has dropped back off the back of the pack.
But they are sitting with 8 points, so it's still possible for them to go through if they get 3rd, possibly 4th here.
Patrick, bit of a shocker there at the start. We didn't see what happened with Clara Anderson, and then obviously also issues for Leah Block. This one could be quite tight actually on who goes through to the grand final.
Yeah, definitely it'd be really tight there. Obviously, if there's any man to do anything off the start, it's Backerud. He's possibly one of the best but most unpredictable drivers on the grid. You never quite know what he's going to do next. Really interesting to see what he did there. It's going to be a lot of pressure now for Hedda Hozos getting into the seat. She'll have Johan Kristoffersen, 5-time World Rallycross champion, behind her. So hopefully she can keep the pressure and the nerves down and bring it through to a win.
Yeah, she raced brilliantly last time. Actually, I thought she rose to the game big time when she was racing Timo Scheider here last time in Sardinia. She really went for it, so hopeful that she'll do the same with Johan. But yeah, Johan will be trying to find a way past. Every single championship point is going to count. Course conditions, looks like there's a few ruts and some dry and wet patches. It's really varied, isn't it now?
Yeah, definitely. I had a little chat with Clara this morning, and she was saying how the ruts are starting to get quite harsh, and maybe a little bit of pain stuff on your neck and on your back after getting out of the car. But You know, the drops. Oh, no.
Problem for Baccarat, pulls over to the side of the road. So Baccarat over at the side of the road. The RXR machine passes. JBXC are out of this race, and that's going to put them out of the grand final as well. That is a disaster, and that has handed an absolutely massive lead, huge lead to Arlen Kotlinski for RXR. And maybe a bit of hope to the teams behind as well about making it through. There's Baccarat, door up, game over.
What happened there then? Oh, we're going to go straight to the paddock to find out a bit more, maybe.
Header stood there looking terribly disappointed, as you'd expect. So at the bottom of the screen there, you can see JBXC going no further. McLaren, Andretti United, who's tied at the minute. At the minute, X44. Oh, wow, X44 and Hummer EV Chip Ganassi Racing wouldn't make it. Now, we thought with them tied on 10 points, that might be enough. I think that's it. I think you've got your cars split into the grand final and the redemption race. So you could get on the radio now as a team boss and say, wind it in, just take it steady, get it to the finish, and you're there.
Yeah, because you want those cars in one piece for tomorrow, don't you? You want them
today. The finals today. Tons of work to do. You know, you don't want to give the team any extra work to do. And the track conditions actually just what Patrick was saying about the ruts building up. This is after 2 races. We've got another 2 races later today, 2 rounds of qualifying, and then we're doing it all again tomorrow. Look how slippery it is out there as well.
Such a shame for JBXC, though. They were doing such a good job. I mean, what do you think happened there?
No idea. Mechanical failure, something, you know, out on the course. Can't tell from here, and just terribly disappointing for them. Door been replaced on the RXR machine. That'll be where Timmy Hansen got up on 2 wheels in the first corner in the first qualifying session. I wonder if we can hear what these two will say to each other, whether or not there'll be any kind of briefing between them. Michaela will definitely give Johanna some information back, but 11.2 seconds up the road. Yeah, good point. They're thinking about it. They'll be talking in Swedish, so we won't get any clues from them.
Not unless you've
learned over the screen. No, I haven't learned Swedish since last time.
No.
Johan, sorry, Michaela opened the door a bit early there, and Johan practically threw the bucket water in her face.
Well, it is pretty hot out there. People on site have been messaging. It is about 30 degrees. Doesn't maybe look that sunny, but I can tell you that the heat is really getting down on them. I mean, and in these race suits, they're in their helmets, and that course is pretty unforgiving, so they really are feeling the heat. The interview with Laia Sands earlier, she was hot. Look, more water coming. I think they could all do with a bit of a shower after this, but RXR in such a good position now. This is their course, and they seem to get pretty lucky, unlike Andretti.
Braking from 4 and from 7, yes?
Yeah, I lifted a little bit before the second water strike, just in case.
So Clara saying to Sebastian Loeb, braking before 4 and 7 is slippery. I love that. You know, she's given the feedback to a 9-time World Rally Championship. We love him working with him. He's an absolute legend of the sport. Now, if you watch Q1 earlier on today, you'll know that there was an incident out on track where RXR lost a couple of positions, which they were understandably a bit miffed about. But I spoke to Clara Anderson, who we were just hearing from there with Sebastian Loeb. She said they had the information about that waypoint being cancelled as a slow zone at the start of the lap. They had that information. It's up to the teams to pass it on to the drivers, so they had plenty of time to do so, and they did not. So we were right that race control had given everybody plenty of time to do it. They just wouldn't call something like that too late. So yeah, there we go. Clara got the information early enough. Luckily for RXR, a P3 and a win here will easily see them go through, and that's great for us because it means the championship fight is going to get super close.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Loeb said earlier as well that he was excited to be joining Abt Cooper again. They were a really professional setup. He enjoyed working with them and getting those comms like that. Obviously, they'll be super happy that they get those through pretty quickly. But just 3 cars now left in this qualifying to Heat 2, and we can see that Rosberg, X-Racing, he looks cool as a cucumber, as ever, doesn't he?
Yeah, he always does. Him and Sebastian Loeb are, yeah, super focused. Patrick, talk us through what Johan's driving through here, this bit of the course, please, mate.
So yeah, Johan's obviously just coming on to the end of the Continental Traction Challenge areas. He's coming up to waypoint 8, where there's a small crest. You land into like a really rutted, bumpy section, and then it gets quite slippery before you come down the hill. It's quite a technical part of the track. You know, you never know whether or not you're going over the crest flat. What could be on the other side of it? Obviously, if there's a car, there'll be a slowdown section, but obviously with other cars going through and then it running up pretty quickly, it's changing all the time. So it's definitely quite a technical part of the track, and an area where you have to be fully focused. A slight mistake can really mess up your race there.
Thank you, mate. We read your great track guide as well, which is on the Extreme E website. If you want to go and take a look at Patrick O'Donovan's guide to the various parts on the track, how slippery some of the corners are, the way the terrain changes. One more lap to go. Kristoffersen jumps over the finish line. If you want to find out more about the series, that little code in the bottom corner there will allow you to go and get any of the information you might need to bring yourself fully up to speed. I'm just looking sector 2. Kristoffersen's gone quickest here. At the moment, we know that the Continental Traction Challenges with Acciona Science, RXR will be really keen to wrestle that off them, because if they can, it will mean that they're going to take 2 championship points back off them.
Yeah, and you can see that Kristoffersen's still got his Anoa hyperdrive with that little icon on the left-hand side next to his name. And so they're going to be using that at any point during the Continental Traction Challenge to try and get the fastest time. It's the combined time between Kristoffersen and his partner, of course, Michaela Korlinski. And yeah, let's wait and see.
10-second penalty for Carl Cox Motorsport actually won't make any difference because the 2 cars behind them have retired, so they had a dropped waypoint. But that shouldn't be a problem. Look at how much you get, how sideways you get after the water splashes. That also the little ditches, lots of little things which we don't see quite so easily when the cars are in a pack. But this one very spread out. The water splash is looking a little bit less watery as a lot of it's been splashed out to the side of the road. Look at Loeb, just so chill.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to look chill when you haven't got someone breathing down your neck, though, isn't it? So
the thing is, even if he did, he'd probably look that chilled. You know, him and Kristoffersen, Ekstrom, they all look so laid back. You see some drivers who are so, their facial expressions give everything away, which I love. I love watching an onboard of somebody really, gurning away, pulling faces, sticking their tongue out. We got some drivers in this who are like that very much. But Kristoffersen, this is a great drive by him and Arlen Kotlinski. He has a 58.3 in that traction challenge. We need to see where Arlen Kotlinski is. I wonder if we'll be able to see it after he comes out of there what the standings are for the Continental Traction Challenge, which will give us an idea of who's going to get the points. Still got the final to go, but it's harder work when you're in traffic. This was a good opportunity with big gaps between the cars to try and lay down a good time. But they are going to make it through to the final, and that's going to keep that championship fight alive for us. RXR book a spot in the grand final later on today, going head-to-head with Acciona Science in this crucial championship fight. At Cooper coming over the line, going to take P2. Loeb sideways, jump. And then we should see in the background Timo Scheider. There he is, Carl Cox Motorsport, and those are our 3 finishers from Q2 Heat 2. Well, disappointment for JBXE in that last race, of course. Andreas Backer had a really big lead and had to retire at the side of the track. Laura Winter is with Andreas' teammate Hedda Hozos, so we can hear how she's feeling after that disappointment.
Yeah, I'm with Hedda Hozos now. Hedda, so sorry to see. Andreas had such a great lead, about to hand the car to you, and then it all went wrong. What is the matter with the car? What's the issue?
Yeah, as you said, Andreas had a really great start, and yeah, suddenly just drive shaft in your rear. So yeah, that's racing, I guess. But yeah, it's nothing to do with that. We just have to move to the next one and yeah, concentrate about that.
It's motorsport, isn't it? It has its highs and its extreme lows as well. Redemption race next. A bit more time for you guys together as a team, and I guess another chance, I know at least, for some points.
Yeah, we just have to concentrate about the redemption race, and hopefully we get some learning from there until tomorrow. It's a new race day, so and it's a new start, so we hopefully get in the final tomorrow. But yeah, this is the best we can do today with the redemption race. So.
And talk to me about the course as well. How is it evolving? Is it evolving as you expect it to? And equally, just how challenging are the addition of the water splashes too?
Yeah, I mean, the track in general is much more like rutted than it has been before, but also wet, so you have to be with the wipers on all the time. And yes, of course, the splashes, you almost stop in the splashes, so that's, yeah, you just have to, like, you can't see for like 3 seconds, but you just have to go flat and hope for the best. But yeah, it's challenging, but it's also the same for everyone, so it's, yeah, but I think it's a fun track.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, best of luck for you guys in the redemption race, and sorry it didn't work out this morning. Thanks, Hedda.
Thank you.
And the results from qualifying round 2, heat 2 in 5th, unfortunately not started with Andretti Autokilat in 4th, was a did not finish for JBXE. Then in 3rd, a good run by Carl Cox Motorsport to secure their next place. And in 2nd comes Abt Cupra. Pretty good weekend for them so far. But up in 1st place in qualifying 2, heat 2 was Rosberg X Racing.
So the results of that mean that overall, these are the cars heading into the grand final and into the redemption race. You've got Cupra, Veloce, Acciona Science, RXR and Carl Cox Motorsport in the final. And that means the top 3 in the championship are going to do battle here in Sardinia for round 7. Well, it's a great action so far here in Sardinia. Remember, another double header. Can anybody stop RXR? Of course, they've crossed the line, as we said a few times. There is the line. Are they going to cross it first again? All 5 times, 1 DQ. They hit that car in front quite hard a couple of years ago, maybe last year. We've been to Sardinia every year, actually, but the action here is always pretty good.
Yeah, I've been on site twice myself. This is the first time in the commentary box with you. It's a different perspective, I can tell you that.
Are you enjoying it?
Absolutely loving it. I tell you what, though, you know how relaxed Seb Loeb looks when he's in the car? I don't think I look like that.
I don't think either of us do, mate. Yeah, that's the case, definitely. It's quite stressful. Not quite as stressful as having perhaps we should get someone to come in and just throw buckets of mud over us whilst we're commentating to give us a better drive-right view. But I mean, in all seriousness, you can see the track conditions changing the whole time. We've seen retirements, you know, some of the ruts and bumps and things. There's the water to try and get the screens washed off. They've actually got bigger water bottles this year to try and counter some of the mud on the screens and so on. So all action. You're riding on board there with Johan Kristoffersson. They've made it through to the final. Laura Winter caught up with him earlier on. Okay, well, a great result there then in Q2 for Rosberg X Racing. P3 in the first session was not where they would normally like to be, but a P1 there sees them firmly through to the grand final. Laura Winter is with Johan Kristoffersson now.
Well, a very happy Johan Kristoffersson stands alongside me for Rosberg X Racing. Johan, you got the job done. How difficult is it, though, to drive when you know all you have to do is get to the line, but you're on a course with terrain like this?
Yeah, it's harder than it looks, but yeah, of course, you try to do your best and manage the pace and not to take too many risks. And the is quite rutted out there, and the water splashes are not so easy as well. The car like skids around on top of it, especially after, so not so easy. Tried to go fast in the super sector, but yeah, it was tricky. It was quite slippery and wet, so I don't think I improved anything. But yeah, Michaela did a great job, and yeah, unfortunate for JBXE after that lead. So, but yeah, we take this win and we go to the final. And big thanks also to the mechanics that managed to get everything sorted after Q1.
Acciona Science, of course, winning the other one there through as top qualifiers. You've got an all-important championship point with that win. It's getting tight at the top, isn't it? How do you see this grand final playing out?
Yeah, I mean, they gain an extra point on us because they won both heats now. But yeah, that is not really the big points. The big points, I mean, the most important for us was to get to the final. That was really important. And yeah, in the final, everything can happen. And that first corner is not easy. And yeah, with all that water on track, it's difficult to handle with the visibility and everything. So we know that yeah, everything can happen in the final. So we are there, and yeah, we will try to do our best.
Oh, we can't wait. Thanks so much, Johan. Well done. Best of luck for later.
This event sees Extreme E joined by its racing cousin, sharing the amazing Sardinian course with its special 2-wheeled guests. The E-Explorer FIM World Cup is a cutting-edge international all-terrain electric motorcycle racing series. Like Extreme E, E-Explorer is a gender-equal sport, with every team having a male and female rider. This is the inaugural season of the championship, and Sardinia is the 4th event on the calendar, which features amazing names from the off-road racing scene.
We have somewhat of a blending of worlds here in Sardinia for rounds 7 and 8 of the Island X Prix, and that is Laia Sanz, joined by Robbie Madison. We of course have Extreme E racing here, but we also have E-Explorer World Cup as well, electric motorbikes. Laia, you've spent so much of your career on 2 wheels, not 4. How are you feeling about seeing E-Explorer out here?
No, it's really cool. I'm happy to see some old friends that they are riding here racing, and also to meet him. You know, it's a big star in our world, so it's a pleasure for sure.
Yeah, I know. We took a few photos before we came in there of you two together. And Robbie, welcome to Extreme E. For those who don't know, who aren't used to E-Explorer, just explain what it's about, what the series is, and obviously this weekend is your finale as well.
Yeah, it is our finale. My team is Team Madwill. We're currently in 2nd place, so hopefully we're going for a world championship, and we're just it's a new series that has a male and female teammates. We're racing all electric motorcycles, and it's a new space, and but it's an FIM sanctioned event, and we're really honoured to be part of it with the Extreme E, and yeah, it's the first year, but it's been some amazing racing, and the teams are fantastic with the male and female. It's just a really good camaraderie, and it's building strong. So I'm just honoured to be a part of it, and more impressed to be standing here with Laia. She's a phenomenal rider, and it's a pleasure to meet her, and I want to see her kick some butt this weekend.
Oh yeah, I'm sure we will as well. Of course, championship leaders coming in to this, our penultimate round here in Sardinia. So Laia, tell me, are you tempted to get out there in the Explorer World Cup? Are you sort of itching to get on two wheels?
Well, when I see, I miss bikes, of course. I was explaining him, I'm a biker, so I still, when I can, I ride a lot at home. It's a good training, and of course I miss a bit the racing feeling with the bike, but I'm happy to see it. Now I don't want injuries. I want to push for this championship, to keep having the leading, so now I'm a good girl, and I'm trying to not get injured on the bike.
Not on the bike. We'll keep you safe and sound in the Extreme E car in the Odyssey. And Robbie, we'll get you in one of these for sure, Robbie, I promise you that.
I'll hold you to it. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
He's good, Robbie Madison, in a car as well. He'd go well there, he really would. So this is grid play. So the teams get to go and pick their slots. Carl Cox Motorsport got the most votes basically from the public. Then the teams that are in the redemption race get to donate their votes. And you can see they went to the inside line. Interestingly, look, App Cooper have gone for the middle of the grid. Up next was Veloce. They decided they wanted slot number 2, which I understand it puts them inside. Acciona Science Championship leaders end up getting out into P2, so they're 3/4 of the way over and right on the outside RXR. Johan won't mind that, because they'll be thinking about whether or not they can do a cheeky one and slide up the inside. Continental Traction Challenge. Have a look at this.
The Continental Traction Challenge is a designated section of the course where the teams can earn critical championship points by setting the fastest time through this sector in each round of the series. True to Extreme E's gender equal split in the driver lineups, the winner of the Continental Traction Challenge is the team with the fastest combined time of both male and female drivers.
X44 Vida Carbon Racing have nicked the Continental Traction Challenge.
Well done, Chris. Great race. That was amazing.
Drivers can post a time in any competitive session of the X-Prix, and the winning team will be awarded 2 championship points. With fierce competition in Extreme E's Paddock for Season 3 and a total of 20 points up for grabs across the 10 races, the Continental Traction Challenge is critical to any team's title aspirations.
X44, Vida Carbon Racing, they have the Continental Traction Challenge. That could prove crucial for this championship.
Well, it is pretty crucial in terms of the championship standings. As we mentioned earlier on, a couple of times actually we mentioned today, these guys lead by 4 points in the championship, and they've won 6 points in the Continental Traction Challenge, and they might win another 2 here in Sardinia. So absolutely crucial. Here is our Zenith Dream Team. So the Zenith Dream Team takes the 2 fastest drivers from each side of the draw, if you like, the males and the females. Earlier on today, it was Tanner Faust, wasn't it? I think was the male driver, and Leah blocked the female driver. This time round, look, it's Kevin Hansen for Veloce and Laia Sands for Acciona Science. Laia Sands, look at that time. 1.4 seconds quicker pretty much than Cristina Gutierrez. So they would be your Zenith Dream Team. Kevin Hansen and Laia Sands, the fastest male and fastest female drivers out there at the moment, but still the final and the redemption race to come. Some brilliant action then so far today. There's that jump off the start down towards turn 1. Track conditions are varied. We've had bodywork flung off. We've got the water splashes to deal with as well. If you're first through it, you've got a shot of being able to see where you're going. If you get plastered by the mud, it's not quite so easy. Broken cars. We've had a serious off, of course, earlier on in the weekend for McLaren. Emma Gilmore missing in action this time round. We're wishing her the best to get back in the car as soon as possible. Tamara Molinaro taking her place. All to play for as we go into the final 2 races of round 7. The redemption race to see how many championship points you can pick up. Can you get some redemption? And of course the grand final. Who is going to win round 7 here in Sardinia? Sardinia sees us hosting round 7 and 8 of Extreme E 2023. We're coming towards the end of the season. Back here, wildfires the theme again. Of course, we've had incredibly high temperatures, but we've had brilliant action here as well. It's a fantastic track, and we're looking forward to more great racing with just the final and the redemption race still to come. My name's Andrew Coley. Alongside me is Jess Rogers. Reporting from the paddock is Laura Winter, and we are very much looking forward to finishing off the first of a double header. Having fun so far, Jess?
Absolutely. I mean, who wouldn't be? It's all happening here on Extreme E. Wild racing.
Yeah, it's been absolutely brilliant. There is the Santa Helena, which delivers the cars to these fantastic venues, and then the cars deliver the action to us. And this is what some of the action has looked like. Bits of cars missing. That was earlier on contact, wasn't it? Extra into the back of Scheider. On board with Laia Sanz, who's the fastest female driver out there at the minute. It's been great.
Yeah, absolutely. Acciona Science having an absolute whopper of a weekend so far. And they're currently at the top of the standings. They're going to want to hold on to that after round 7 today and going into round 8. But RXR slightly breathing down their neck.
Yeah, they are. They had a double win here last time out. Can they get more wins here again? That's them crossing the line. They're a better running queue to put themselves through to the grand final. So all to play for. The top 3 in the championship are into that all-important race. Laura Winter, as always, is reporting from the paddock for us. She's been out catching up with some of the drivers ahead of these last races.
Well, it's been a busy weekend for Tamara Molinaro, who joins me now, racing here for McLaren in place of Emma Gilmore. You have the redemption race coming up. Just sum up your thoughts on today and the weekend as a whole.
Well, it has been quite a crazy weekend, to be honest. We are still trying to tune the car, but yeah, we're getting along great with Tanner and the team. So yeah, thankfully Emma is doing better as well. So that's a great news. So yeah.
How difficult is it to jump into a new team, into the championship car? We're seeing it's being put together under the McLaren livery. How challenging has it been?
Well, for sure, for the mechanics and the whole team has been super difficult because there's so many things to fix and change, you know, to make it fit like a glove for us. So yeah, they've been working flat out, and for us also has been quite difficult to adapt and to try to find a good balance with everything. But yeah, hopefully we'll get there by tomorrow.
And the redemption race beckons. Best of luck to you for that, Tamara. Thank you very much for joining us as well. A busy one for you, and obviously as an Italian as well, Tamara has very much been part of the legacy projects we see here in Sardinia on the front line fighting the wildfires. You can find out more about that right now.
Over the last year or so, wildfires have become an extremely potent symbol of climate change, and we're seeing them across all parts of the planet. And we've got to ask ourselves the question how we reached this point. Humans have raised CO2 values 50% above their pre-industrial level. When it comes to CO2 concentrations, a 50% increase in that span of time is unprecedented in the Earth's history. The increased concentrations of carbon dioxide have led to rising temperatures and records being broken all across the world in all of the continents. In July this year, 21 of the 30 hottest days ever recorded occurred. And to top that, July 2023 was the hottest month on record. As a result of these statistics, the UN now refers to the condition as global boiling rather than global warming. These records that we're seeing in temperatures lead to extreme heat and drought, and that, together with enhanced evaporation, creates the perfect conditions for wildfires. It's very likely that we're just seeing the very start of this phenomenon. Predictions are for a 14% increase in wildfires by 2030 and a 50% increase by 2100. The devastation that accompanies any one of those fires is barely imaginable. The loss of biodiversity, productive agricultural land, residential areas, impacts on human health, impacts on air quality, and of course, probably most cruelly of all at the global level, the release of CO2, further CO2 into the atmosphere. Wildfires are one hell of a wake-up call for us to pull together, to come to our senses, to sort things out. And there's no question the race is on, and we've got to look to all sorts of measures to get those solutions in place fast. Sporting frontiers achieve the impossible quite regularly. That's why we tune in and watch things. We watch records being broken. But we've got very special records to break now, and those records are bound up with the effort that we've got to put in to sorting things out.
Crunch time down in the paddock. Drivers get themselves ready.
We just saw McLaren in the background there as well, and they have had a bit of a disappointing weekend. Emma Gilmore was unfortunately injured in free practice. We really send our best regards to her. I hope she's doing okay. So Tamara Molinaro has stepped up, and they've actually used the championship car instead of their own because it was too hard to get it ready in time.
Yeah, they wouldn't have been exactly double header, and you have to look at it and what your odds are. Of course, you want to be in your own car, but with that amount of damage, there's highly likely to be little things which you won't find when you rebuild the car quickly. So, good decision to take the championship car.
Yeah, definitely, but it hasn't been plain sailing for them since either. And they find themselves in the redemption race, and they're going to be hoping for just a few points there to make up for a disappointing weekend so far.
Yeah, exactly. And then the nice thing is they get a full reset and they get to go again tomorrow. There's Sebastian, though.
Nice smile.
Just as relaxed as you might expect him to be. Let's see how relaxed some of the other drivers are. Laura Winter is down again ahead of the redemption race.
R.J. Anderson of Chip Ganassi joins me now after a frustrating morning. We'll take a little walk through the paddock here, R.J. Just talk us through what happened this morning and indeed your hopes looking ahead to the redemption race.
Yeah, our first redemption race of the year. So not the perfect day so far, but we just got to regroup and put our heads forward. The team's been battling all day. We've had a couple charging issues with the vehicles, so the team's been thrashing. They're putting their best foot forward. Chip Ganassi Racing Team, and get this GMC Hummer ready for the redemption race. It's our first one of the year. Didn't want to be there, but we got to regroup and try to bring home the win in the redemption race.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, you never know, you may do. Thank you so much, RJ. Better luck a little bit later on. Thank you to him. We head now into the Andretti Ultequila 10, and Katie Munnings is here. There is no car. I'm guessing that's quite a good sign, though. Of course, they did not race in qualifying 2. That means straight through to the redemption race for you guys. No car here means you are racing the redemption race. Tell us more.
Yeah, so the guys did an amazing job to fix, the damage that we obviously got in the first corner. And yeah, I think the car's in scrutiny, so hopefully it passes. And then, yeah, we'll be out on the track. Yeah, obviously it's not ideal. We were aiming for a lot higher to be in the grand final. And yeah, we'll just do what we can. I think we have the worst grid spot because obviously we didn't start Q2, but anything can happen in Extreme. It will be my first time on track. Because I obviously didn't get quali 1 or quali 2, so I think it's like 50% of the running time that I've missed, so it might look like a completely different track out there, but yeah, hopefully we can just have a clean run. I think that's important for us, and then start again tomorrow.
And how's the morale, just very quickly?
Yeah, obviously, you know, the most important thing that we can do is work as a team in this. Extreme is not easy for anyone, it never is, so we just got to pick ourselves back up, have a clean slate, go into this with quite a strong mind, but also making sure that we don't make any silly mistakes.
Great stuff. Katie, thank you so much for joining. Thanks for your time. Fingers crossed for you guys in the redemption race. That is coming up very, very soon. The last chance for our bottom 5 teams to score some valuable points here in Sardinia. Don't miss it.
Attention all teams, this is race control. Stand by for the start of the Island X3. The redemption race is about to commence. Energize your systems and prepare to race.
1 minute, 1 minute. There's the 1 minute warning for the drivers, and you can see Andreas Backrud pulls his balaclava on for JBXE. There is Cristina Gutierrez, his brilliantly designed helmet by a bunch of youngsters who she was visiting in a hospital. You can find more information out about that on the Extreme website. It's one about news stories. You can see Sorensen getting ready. Andreas does up the race suit. It is hot. You want to get into that gear as late as you possibly can. 30 odd, let me see, what's the track too? It's 34 degrees on site now.
30
So
seconds,
34 degrees. Hot, hot, hot. Katie Munnings. Katie always, you can tell, like I said, just emotionally, she's ready for it. So, X44 in this Hummer EV Chip Ganassi racing for the first time this year. JBXE, McLaren with Tamara Molinaro standing in for Emma Gilmore, remember, and then also Andretti Altequila. Our championship front runners have all made it through to the grand final. They will want to win this just as much as they would want to win that grand final. All those championship points count. Everybody using an hyperdrive off the line straight away. You've got Fraser McConnell on the inside line. Timmy Hansen is right out on the outside. R.J. Anderson in the middle. And then we've got our two female drivers. Molinaro sideways in the championship car gets launched. It goes in sideways. The McLaren goes over, gets launched. She's on a roof at the side of the track. The Chip Ganassi racing machine goes up the inside line. JBXE slotting into P2. Some sort of a problem for X44. Look like they're going backwards. Either that or just a ton of lost traction. The car is off track, so we might not get a red flag. But let's see. It will depend whether or not we get Tamara out the car. So that is an absolute disaster.
Yeah, and we were just talking just before that about how they had a disappointing weekend. We really hope Tamara is okay in that car. What a roll. Oh.
Nasty. So GMC Hummer EV Chip Ganassi Racing leading out front. Fair old gap now back to JBXE. I say McConnell is now some 10 seconds back. So 10 seconds back.
Yeah, something going on there with the X44 car, but it's Hedda Hosas for JBXE, who is in second place behind Chip Ganassi, and then we've got Andretti in third.
Yeah, so what I said, didn't know something wrong with the X44 machine? Looked like it was going backwards. Coming up to the water splash. They might neutralise the race in the switch zone, but if Molinaro's out the car, they might not have to. We might just be able to carry on till the end. So the X44 machine, we think, has stopped. Yes, it has. So that's a disaster of a day. That's the second time they've had a tech issue today. So McConnell and Gutierrez are out. Last time it was Gutierrez, and Fraser's face says it all, doesn't it?
Look how disappointed he looks.
Yeah.
He's such a smiley, happy guy in the pits and in the paddock. Oh, I really feel for them.
It just looked terribly slow on the run from waypoint number 1, you can see. Right, out front then. R.J. Anderson in the number 99, Hummer EV Chip Ganassi Racing. He is pushing hard. Both him and Amanda Sorensen, expert off-road racers. Fantastic addition to the series this year. Though, of course, we wish well to our previous driver as well, Kyle LeDuc, who at the minute is battling cancer. No jump, we've got a slow zone. So they will drive around the side. They should drive around the side of the jump here. Have we got cars that haven't spotted the slow zone? I think we've got a couple of cars there that haven't spotted it, in which case we're going to be penalties galore. Can you make it any more complicated for us drivers? Thank you very much.
Yeah, they came in really fast there, didn't they?
Yeah.
In front, and that was not looking smooth. And if I was in Chip Ganassi, I wouldn't be very happy about them sneaking in front of me like that.
No. So yeah, they've dropped down to P3. Kyle LeDuc, I was mentioning at the minute, battling illness, we say. Kyle, we're sending you our love. The whole paddock is. A number of the cars have got like decals on for Kyle. He was a proper sender in the car as well, and I'm sure we'd love to see him back in Extreme at some point. R.J. Anderson doing a brilliant job. And yeah, fantastic as well from Amanda Sorensen, who we should see get in the car. Now, we're hearing that the waypoint slow marker is from the finish line to number 1, in which case, potentially, R.J. Anderson slowed down too soon. And this is pretty much what we had earlier on today, isn't it? With people being told different things at different times and not quite getting it right. It's a long way to, this is like slow racing, isn't it? Down towards turn 1.
I feel like this is like wacky racing.
Yeah,
it's like, what's going to happen next? But I mean, that's just playing to the rules then, isn't it? Chip Ganassi stopped too soon. They slowed down too soon, because this slow zone is really slow.
It is very slow, and it's long, isn't it? It's 30 kilometres an hour, and that is a long, long way. Waypoint 1 is an awful long way down.
But Andretti is absolutely flying, and Hansen is at the wheel there. And for JBXE in second, it's Hedda Hosas. But we've heard that Tamara Molinaro, who is in that role to begin with in the McLaren car, is doing okay. That she is okay with her, which is amazing. We're sending her our best wishes, and she's out of the car. Yeah, they're going to send her for checks, as we always do when someone's had a fair old crash, and that is the second one this weekend for McLaren, their own car and then their championship car. So
Worth noting, there is no spare car now, so it's going to be a case of what can they do with the parts from the two. Genuinely, there's going to be a lot of work for them to do, see if they can make it back to the start line. In the background, Hedda Hozos starting to come under a little bit of pressure now from R.J. Anderson. You can see the stats there for Anderson, throttle versus brake, little green and red lines on the side. Comes out of the dust there, looks inside. Look at the rotation there. Bit of handbrake, going to slide up the inside here. Tries to find the traction. Hits a bush, gets a little bit sideways. Right behind Hozos. You can see Hozos there, the brake light coming on where she's just feathering that left foot on the brake. So right foot on the gas pedal, left foot on the brake, and that's how you balance these four-wheel drive machines through the corners. Anderson now, can he get in front before they get to the switch zone? Just got this left-hander to go. He's taken a different line. I think he's going to do it late on the brakes. It's nicely done. Slides up the inside header. Hozos going to try and respond, get the traction on the exit, but no, he finds some dry ground over on the right-hand side. R.J. Anderson gets back up into P2. Got two DNFs, as we say, Molinaro with the crash and X44 with a retirement. They've cleared the slow zone, so we're going racing on the second two laps, but first the switch.
Absolutely, and that switch means that Hansen is passing over to Katie Munnings, and Andretti have had a bit of a tricky weekend so far, so they will be looking for some redemption in this. I actually feel like Andretti have had... Oh, let's have a look at the slow replay here.
Is he on the brakes too early? This is R.J. Anderson. That's at waypoint 14, look. So I think he's gone on the brakes from waypoint 14. He has, and the slow zone, according to timing, is from the finish line there.
Right
So yeah, so basically he's gone on the brakes too soon. But that's, you know, to be fair to him, there's a lot going on in the car. That'll be the team communicating with him about where he's got to do it. There's then also a yellow light on the dashboard, so there's other information, but yeah, it's a lot going on.
And also, the penalties can be really quite steep for this, can't they? So you really don't want to necessarily risk going over that slow zone, because your penalty could be a lot more seconds than you'd lose with just braking a bit early.
Let's take a look at that huge crash then for Tamara Molinaro. She is second car from the right-hand side. So she comes together with Hedda Hozos over the jump here. Contact, she lands sideways, and the car just goes off the side, and where the wheels dig in, she gets launched. So it lands on suspension / wheels. So I would suspect that of the two cars, that would be the one that would be easier to repair. It's still got all four wheels on it, and the car that Emma Gilmore rolled did not. So out of the switch zone now, and away Andretti, Altakili. Katie Munnings taking the wheel, so Munnings takes over from Timmy Hansen. R.J. Anderson will have handed over to Amanda Sorensen, and then Hedda Hozos to Andreas Baccarin.
Yeah, absolutely. And Katie Munnings, we saw how disappointed she was earlier. She's going to be absolutely gunning for this to be a good race for them, and they could really do with those points in the overall standings. And yet, Sorensen, fellow American, to R.J. Anderson, is going to be hoping for a bit of a clean run here. It's her first season in Extreme E, is Sorensen.
Yeah, she's been brilliant, as I say, probably for me one of the strongest debuts in the category. Clara Anderson right up there as well in terms of just jumping in the car and immediately being on the pace. They're not the easiest things to drive. They're not like other race cars. They're electric all-wheel drive off-road machines, and you've got to get your head around how to handle them. There's an idea as well of what makes this track particularly tricky.
You said they're not the easiest cars to drive, Andrew. I don't think anyone was under any illusion that they were the easiest cars to drive.
Yeah, very much. They got a bit easier. There were some upgrades last year to the suspension, box dampers on the cars now, which make things... Oh, that's another one of our cameras gone. No camera operator, don't worry. Patrick O'Donovan is on site for us and can give us a bit more insight. Patrick, what are you thinking about what you're seeing here in the redemption race? Give us your thoughts.
Yeah, I'm seeing, well, obviously gutted for tomorrow there off the start. You know, we all knew there was going to be a bit of carnage over the weekend with the 5 abreast going over that jump. Just thankful she's okay. Hopefully they can get the car back out for tomorrow. But no, I'm quite interested to see how the track's going to continue developing. You know, obviously you can see there Amanda Sorensen getting a little bit caught up in the ruts and the bumps through through waypoints 10 and 11. But no, I think it's going to be really interesting. I was out there earlier doing some VIP tour laps, and I was seeing how the track degradation is developing, and it seems to be getting a little bit rotted out there. Obviously, there's nothing we can do. We have to leave the track in a natural formation. So it's going to be all about how the driver's going to be able to develop and drive around them.
Thank you, mate. Fantastic insight, as always. So out front, Katie Munnings' gap now is 5.9 seconds. Andreas Baccarin is absolutely flying behind Amanda Sorensen. He'll be wanting to get past if he can. Munnings is doing well to keep that gap, so keep an eye on that gap out front. It's gone up to 6.6. Munnings has gapped by a little bit more, but it's now just half a second between the JBXE machine and Amanda Sorensen. So backward chasing Sorensen down up the road. You can see how far away Katie is.
Yeah, and for a reminder, people from home, oh, that's the Anoa hyperdrive being used in the Continental Traction Challenge section.
Andreas Backward having a look up the inside there, can't quite make it done though. Going on the hyperdrive now it's Sorensen, so Sorensen uses the hyperdrive backward, trying to get the inside line on the brakes. Just slots in, beautifully done, really tiny pass. Now Sorensen's going to get sprayed through the water splash as well, so great move by Backward. That is Sorensen's view, and I suspect when she clears the wipers, look at it. Look how much distance he's gone just with the visibility.
Yeah, absolutely wild. That pass was unbelievable. Backarud is also one of the nicest men in racing, I think, from what I can tell.
Yeah, he's lovely. He's a great bloke. He really is. He wants to win, and he will want to help Hedda and the JBXE team get towards the front. He's good. He's fiercely competitive. A massive rivalry between him and Timmy Hansen in the 2019 World Rallycross Championship came down absolutely to the wire. And you know, it's so good to have some of these names come in from all these different series and from America as well to come and fight at the highest level in Extreme E.
And what's so good is you've got men and women racing against each other as well as supporting each other within a team setup. Like here, you've got male and female drivers racing against each other. And as a reminder to people at home, this is the redemption race, and the number of points you get for coming first in this is 8 points, and then it's 6 points, and then it's 4.
Andretti Autokila at the top of the Continental Traction Challenge. They've gone 3.55 quicker, so track conditions must have changed in their favour. Don't forget as well, Katie Munnings didn't actually get a crack at it earlier on today with the problems Timmy Hansen had with that contact in the first corner. So brilliant drive by Andretti Autokila, taking the win and moving to the top of the Continental Traction Challenge. Andreas Backward and Hedda Hozos come P2 for JBXE. And it's Amanda Sorensen coming across the line, having taken over the car from R.J. Anderson. GMC Hummer EV Chip Ganassi Racing P3. Great stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think Chip Ganassi are going to be a little bit disappointed, as they were going into that in kind of, you know, into the switch. They were going into that almost in first place before that slow zone area, and they're going to be a bit frustrated with themselves about that. Obviously a communications problem, but overall Andretti Autokila going to be very happy. Maybe a smile back onto Katie Munnings' face, which is what we would love to see.
It's a great way to finish the day today, and it's a nice way then for them to reset ahead of going full-on racing again tomorrow. So yeah, good result. Andretti Autokila win the redemption race. Munnings rolls back to the paddock. It just lifts you. You know, you've had a day that sucked, and it's like, well, how am I going to... I'm hating this. I want to win, and then you do win, and you're okay. No, I feel all good, and I'm all smiling, and I want to win tomorrow. So they will go into tomorrow invigorated, you know, and thinking, okay, we've got this, we can do it, we can do it. We're going to head to the command centre and have a catch up with Timmy Hansen, Katie's teammate. Timmy will be down there now. Let's go see him. Timmy Hansen, that's the way to finish the day, isn't it? Oh, it did not start well, but it's ended well, and you're both smiling, which is what we like to see.
Yeah, it was so tough after that contact and, you know, damage in Q1 already. Like, we didn't even get the day started, and it was so bad. So we even decided to skip Q2 to get the car back together, and we had the worst starting position from the outside in this redemption race. And the last thing you want to do when you're on the line there is to crash the car again. And I got a lot of mud on my screen, played it super safe through turn 1, but then, yeah, I just kind of worked our way back into the race. It was a shame for RJ with the slow zone there and the misunderstanding, but they were very clear to me that it's from the finish line, and I just stuck with my team and the information I got, and managed to be all right. And yeah, I feel super relieved now after, you know, the tough start to the morning, but this was nice redemption.
We've just seen some pictures of Katie hugging her dad. She did well to hold on to a 7-second lead there. She kept the gap consistent through the whole race. I noticed your dad's here as well this weekend, Timmy, and we've been telling the viewers at home that he's a bit of a rallycross legend for those that don't know. Has he been giving you any tips, or is it the other way round now?
No, he can't stay away. You know, he's giving me loads of tips. I love having him here. He's my spotter in the World Rallycross Championship, and it's so comfortable to discuss stuff with him. Of course, Kevin is here, but I can't talk to him about things, so it's nice to have Dad and Mum here.
Fantastic, Timmy. Thanks ever so much, mate. Well done today, and we hope to see you guys smiling again tomorrow. All right, go send it.
Thanks, Andrew.
Good stuff, eh? Great to see. Just great. I love seeing that. Katie's all stoked as well.
I know.
So, yeah, brilliant.
You know what? It'll be a good vibe in the Andretti Autokila team tonight, won't it? Oh, that family, the Hansen family, they've got something special in those genes, haven't they?
Results then of the redemption race, P5 a DNF after that roll for Tamara Molinaro in the McLaren, also a DNF for X44 coming to a halt at the side of the road. A misunderstanding for Chip Ganassi Racing means they get P3. JBXE up in second place with a brilliant win and smiles all round for Timmy Hansen and Katie Munnings and Andretti Autokila. Good stuff. So yeah, as you say, happy. There are going to be people who are not quite so happy. Poor old Tamara Molinaro and the McLaren team have really got to figure out what they're going to do for tomorrow about how they get the cars repaired and get themselves good to go. But great stuff in the redemption race, grand final still to come.
And in Extreme, it's all about equality. We have got the equal amount of female drivers as we have as male drivers, and they're absolutely holding their own for sure. And the amount that the female drivers has improved since the beginning of Extreme is quite exceptional. We love seeing them paired with male drivers in this competition. But it's not just female drivers, it's also people on site as well.
I grew up in this sport since I was 8. I think I've raced against one female in my racing career in 26 years. And so that needs to change. You know, young girls need to see that they can race also too.
Extreme has done much more for females, I think, than they realised that it would when they started the championship.
Motorsport is always a difficult sport to get into, a difficult sport to reach any high level because the investment level, the resources that you need is so high for any driver, male or female. What Extreme has done is made sure that some of that seat time and development will go to female talent and female drivers, which is so important because you need that opportunity to learn and to develop.
There were a lot of things that were appealing to us about Extreme. First and foremost, is a competition that required both male and females playing on an equal playing field. So to have our first female racing driver from McLaren Racing and Emma Gilmore is awesome.
We came up with the concept which was like mixed doubles, where every team has one car, but one lap has to be done by a male and one lap has to be done by a female. And it's really transformed the sport.
I love the way the messages are going out from Extreme. Having a woman driver with a man driver in the same car in the same race is something unique. It's never been done before.
To share the car with a girl was something new for me, and I think it's a nice experience to work together.
Having that male teammate, being able to learn from them. We all saw the progression of all the women drivers throughout the year, so it's great to see.
Extreme has done so much for equality in motorsports. Just thinking back, for example, to Sardinia, it was our driver Michaela who was the star of the weekend because in race 1 we were only running 3rd last lap and she did an amazing overtake to get Katie Munnings for 2nd and then won the race. That's so cool. This motorsports is a platform where the women can really be the superstars just as much as the men.
Motorsport has come really far. It has made big steps, especially and because of what Extreme has done. But there is still a long way to go for us to be across the whole motorsport world to reach true equality within sport.
If another female does well on track, I'm proud of that as well because Extreme is really challenging. So to see those performances come through from females is amazing.
To have someone like Kevin Hansen as my teammate and not in a sense of traditional teams where your teammates, you also want to beat your teammate. You know, we have to work together and if we can get the best out of both, it's better for the whole. You know, I have this amazing mentor next to me in the same car, data to compare with, and that's sort of from a learning perspective, you could just learn so much faster, and that's what we're seeing when it comes to, you know, out on the track.
There's so much media and hype around women in motorsport, but actually it's always been about how far can we go. I think it's a very exciting time for motorsport, and I think the more potential that we can get for opportunities for females, the more it will grow.
Well, here we are, poised ahead of the grand final here in round 7 of the Island X Prix. And there are just a handful of points between Rosberg X Racing, winners, of course, of the first season of Extreme, and Acciona Sainz just next. And they've had a brilliant, brilliant morning so far. Team boss and, of course, driver as well, Carlos Sainz, joins me now. Carlos, what a morning that your team has had. Just sum it up for us.
Yeah, it was basically all working fine.
clean, no problems. A little bit difficult start in the first qualifying, but then after it was quite good and yeah, happy. But of course now the grid play was not in our favor. We will start in the second worst position.
You will indeed. Championship leaders, however, I know anything can happen in Extreme, and we know that the courses can really bite as well. But how much confidence does this team have right now in how it's driving, in the dynamic between you as boss and your two drivers?
I'm fully confident, first of all, in the team, in the two drivers. But as I say, we are not in the best position for the start, and we know by experience that anything can happen in the final, anything can happen. Yeah, basically from the start to the first two corners. So hopefully nothing important, and let's have a clean race and score some good points.
What advice are you giving your drivers, certainly around that start as well?
They know very well what to do. They are both experienced now. They know very well the championship, the car. No, of course, the important is the start. You know, Matthias will have to do a good job, but. You know, it's never finished, so even if the start is not going well, the important thing is to score points and to keep scoring until the last race.
Well, we're excited, Carlos. Good luck. Thank you so much for talking to us. Here we go then. It is the grand final here in Sardinia, round 7 of the Island X Prix. It's about to go racing.
Getting ourselves ready for the last race of round 7. Of course, we're going to do it all again tomorrow for round 8. But we have the grand final still to come. A little bit of clear up to do from the redemption race because there was a fair old crash at the start. You see drivers down there in cars ready to go with the doors up just to keep the temperature down a bit. We're going to have a chat with Molly Taylor in the command centre, where I don't think it's going to be much cooler, to be honest. Molly, getting yourself ready. Yeah, go on. It's not cool in there, is it?
It's not, but you should see the air conditioner I'm sat next to. It's actually probably the nicest place to be right now. The breeze is lovely, but yeah, it is hot. It is very hot, especially in the cars.
Best seat in the house. We've got 4 minutes to the race start. Well, you could drag this interview out if you like, and you could just chill out there and get yourself ready to go. How are you feeling ahead of this one? What's the thoughts? I mean, in tactics, it's difficult, isn't it? Because you can have a plan until turn 1.
Yeah, well, exactly. Every time you make a plan for every scenario, and then the one you don't plan for happens, and that's how Extreme E goes. But you know, we've had a great day so far. Everything's feeling good. Kevin is, you know, full faith in him on making a great start, and he knows what he's doing out there. And yeah, hopefully he'll bring me the car in a good place to finish the job. But we'll be out there giving it our all.
Yeah, can't wait for this one. It's an incredible lineup. The top 3 in the championship are in this fight, of course, for Loche, RXR and Acciona Science. You guys are just a handful of points behind, so every point does count here. You really want to get in front of the other guys, don't you? This is important for the championship.
That's certainly the plan.
Okay, you play those cards close to your chest. Enjoy the air conditioner for another few minutes, and the best of luck for the final. Thanks, Molly.
See you later. Thanks.
There we go, and there is Molly's teammate Kevin. Look, it's just these are the little things that a driver. So you just pulling the gloves on. He'll have pulled the gloves on 5 times, but you do it again, and you tighten the belts 1 more time. And I promise you, when the belts are properly tight, you reach a point where you can't quite get that deep breath in. You really tighten them hard down. Christopherson, look, just that final check. I love this bit. This is where the pressure really builds. We're getting ready for the last race. Who is going to win round 7 of Extreme E?
Attention all teams, this is race control. Stand by for the start of the Island X Prix. The grand final is about to commence. Energize your systems and prepare to race.
This is it then, the big one, the grand final. There's Leah Block. She'll be taking over from Timo Scheider. Carl Cox Motorsport have had a 3rd place once this year already. Can they go better here? Another couple of steps up on the podium. A podium they'd be pleased with, I'm sure. Clara Anderson will be taking over, of course, from Sebastian Loeb for Ab Cupra. We've already seen Molly Taylor will be jumping in for Kevin Hansen. There's Laia Sands, who takes over from Ekstrom. Michaela Arlen-Kotlinski is down at RXR. There she is. Final little bits of prep. I love the fact they have those visors down, and just ready to go.
Yeah, it looks so serious in there, and here is our starting grid. You've got RXR on the outside, then you have got Acciona Signs in lane 2, then you have got Apt Cupra in the middle, then you've got Veloce, and making up that starting grid is Carl Cox on the outside. All men to start off with, and in the switch, they'll be switching over to their female counterparts.
They will indeed. Christopherson, Ekstrom, Loeb, Kevin Hansen and Timo Scheider. Thumbs up from the marshals. In Inoa Hyperdrive, we can expect all 5 of these cars to use it off the line. If you don't use it, you're going to be nowhere. The only reason you might do that is if you're guessing carnage, but these drivers are all getters. They will in their heads, they all know they're going to be in turn 1 first. They're all going to use that in Inoa Hyperdrive. They're all going to try and get down and beat the others to the apex. Who's going to get the whole shot? We're about to find out. Round 7 going to get underway. Wipers are on already. 10 seconds until the green, and then we are good to go. Christopherson on the outside. In theory, that's the worst grid stop, but watch for that cutback in turn 1. He's done it so many times. His rival Ekstrom just inside him. Oh, great reaction time from Sebastian Loeb in the middle of the grid. Everybody uses the Inoa Hyperdrive, says RXR haven't, so maybe they're going to drop in and use it later. Tactically, that would be mega, wouldn't it? It's Timo Scheider who's got the inside line here. Christopherson gets completely roosted. Kevin Hansen sideways up the inside line. Ekstrom all the way round the outside to take the lead. Fantastic move by Matthias Ekstrom. He will have the inside line at the next corner. Timo Scheider trying to go late on the brakes, sideways in. At the back of the pack is Sebastian Loeb. I think it's RXR who are down in P4. Loeb almost side by side with them. But at the minute it is Ekstrom leading from Timo Scheider with a brilliant move by Ekstrom in turn 1.
Oh my days, Acciona Signs, can it get any better for them this weekend? Well, it can, because they could win this grand final and they could maintain that top spot. But absolute world class from Ekstrom there, hey?
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. In the background, we've got somebody dropped off the back of the pack. I think it's the Apt Cupra machine of Sebastian Loeb. They're 6.6 seconds back. Did RXR use, sometimes we don't get the Inoa Hyperdrive signal to us if they've all used it at the same time, so they might have used it, but the fact that Johan was behind everyone off the line suggests to me he might have saved it for later in the lap. Look at the visibility if you're at the back. Look how clean the Acciona Science machine is out front. Timo Scheider suitably far back. In the background there, look at the RXR again. The water bottle, as we said earlier on, has been doubled to something like 7 litres to give the drivers a chance to use the wipers a little bit more, and it's crucial in these conditions.
Yeah, and speaking of the dirt, you can barely even see the RX car colours anymore. It's quite hard for us sometimes to see which cars it is.
It's a familiar issue. It certainly was up in Scotland as well. So Ekstrom leads by just 1.6. It goes up to 1.8 seconds. He's 0.2 of a second ahead. Backing it in, here comes Scheider, now waiting for Kevin Hansen. There's Kevin Hansen in the Veloce machine, and then we've got RXR's Johan Christopherson. At the minute, this is very much advantage Acciona Signs. Remember, they've lost those 2 points at the moment in the Continental Traction Challenge. Andretti out of Keeler have nicked them, so they had 4 when we came here, an extra 2 for winning their sessions. Did RXR win 1? Yes, they did, didn't they? So,
yeah.
so they'll be 5 points ahead now instead of 4. So a lot rests on the result of this race and the Traction Challenge.
But Acciona Signs really are, like, they're a little bit far ahead. They've got that gap. And do you think it's, you know, the man himself is here? Carlos Sainz is on site. He might want to be in the car, but I mean, Ekstrom's doing a pretty good job so far.
He is. I've just noticed Sebastian Loeb coming in so lit in the background. It was ridiculous. So maybe had some sort of a problem between turns 1 and 2. Sardinian sun is beating down on this track, but it hasn't managed to dry out the water splashes. Oh, alternate line from Kevin Hansen, going the long way, long and straight down towards waypoint number 1, looking to go up the inside 3. Sorry, he does. So off the inside, Kevin Hansen making a pass, carrying incredible speed through, gets past Timo Scheider. He was outside that track marker. Who's parked it? Somebody's parked it in the background. Christopherson, I think, has come to a halt in the background. The RXR machine of Christopherson and Arlington, they've stopped.
Oh,
Christopherson stopped. You can see it on the inside. Deep breath. He knows this is going to cost them a ton of points in the championship fight. It's a disaster for RXR. Stopped on track in the grand final round 7.
Gosh, we have had quite a few stops today, which we weren't really expecting, and so gutting for RXR. Just as we were thinking it was going to be head-to-head, especially in the championship points, anything could have happened. We hope they're okay, but don't know if that car's going to be starting again.
Wow, there we go. Certainly not going to be winning. They're going to be losing out in that championship fight, and it's the other 2 cars, of course, who are in P1 and P3 in the standings. Acciona Science and Veloce. going to be taking points away from RXR at the minute. Acciona Sainz will be extended. He's going again, but he's miles behind, 51 seconds behind. Power steering's gone for sure. You can see the way he's holding onto the wheel, so they've got issues with the car. He will try and finish. They may as well carry on just in case they can do a reset on the car. Somebody might roll any point that you want to get, so they'll try to get round if they can.
Yeah, absolutely, because there's only 10 points that separates RXR and Veloce at the moment in the overall standings. Can we just talk about Carl Cox Motorsport for a second, because they're new to Extreme E this year, and they're doing an absolutely stellar job. The transfer in the switch zone is about to go to Leah Block, who's just 16 years old. Tell you what, I could barely even be on holiday on my own when I was 16. You know.
I know her mum's with her, so I know Lucy Block's out there on site, which is fantastic, always supporting the family. And both her brother and her sister have been racing recently over in the USA. They are a racing family through and through. Okay, into the switch zone. Out comes Ekstrom. In goes Laia Sands. This is one of those days where they will be freaking out because it's all gone so well. What's going on here? So struggling to get. Was he struggling to get out? He was struggling to get out.
He was pointing. He was shouting at something there. I don't know if he was trying to tell someone to move the wipers or something. There was definitely something going on.
The wipers are stuck. Yeah, you're right. The wipers are stuck. Kevin's trying to free them up. So the wipers are stuck on the Veloce machine. That's a disaster. If they get caught in the mud, they will have to stop. They literally, Chris Thompson rolled in Scotland this year. There you go, on board with the Veloce machine. It looks to me like the right wiper is missing. So the actual blade is missing off the car. You can see the plastic pipe work. You spray directly onto the wiper blade. This is a shocker. So tactically, this is a disaster for them. So Veloce in P2. This could go the way of Carl Cox Motorsport. They chuck a bucket of water over the car as well. Now it's time for girls to put on a show, and they certainly will. Laia Sands heads out. Can Acciona Sainz have pretty much the perfect day? Could they steal the Continental Traction Challenge back in this race?
They may be able to do just that. An extra 2 points would be going their way.
Carl Cox Motorsport out in front already, so they've got out in front of the Veloce machine in the background, so problems for Veloce. We knew the wipers were broken. Now it's whether Veloce, I think, going to fall into the hands of Loeb and Anderson here as well.
Yeah, Loeb and Anderson been a bit quiet so far in this race, but Abt Cupra did win one of the qualifying heats earlier, and so Clara Anderson is absolutely loving driving alongside Seb Loeb in this series, in the season so far.
Leah Block absolutely flying down that. You look at the bumpy rhythm section through there. She's got it absolutely lit. She's got Molly Taylor behind her, Taylor the season 1 champion, and Clara Anderson at the back of the pack, who, like Amanda Sorensen, has really impressed me coming into this series. She really has. Comes from a rallycross background. There's the wiper. Look, the blade on the right is going. This is it. This is the moment at which we find out what they're going to do, whether or not she can see anything. There it comes up. The water's fine. It's the mud. We're losing the pictures just when we wanted to see it. Whereabouts are they in the background? The car's still going. Can she sight the left-hander? Just about, but Anderson's right there. Clara Anderson. Oh, look at the screen. Molly Taylor's got barely any visibility. She's about to go through another muddy section. She can barely see where she's going. Anderson now gets sprayed in the background too. You're on board with Clara Anderson in the 125 at Cooper on the handbrake. Reaches down, rotates the car. She's got to try and find a way past here and take advantage of the fact that Taylor cannot see where she's going.
Yeah, I'd like to see what Taylor can see right now. It's quite remarkable that all this racing can actually come down to how good your wipers are.
Honestly, that's what she can see. There we go. So she's got just about enough vision, but she's got to go through that splash again on the next lap. Go on, Molly Taylor, get in.
Yeah, we're rooting for her, absolutely. It is such a killer if that is what undoes you in this epic racing. But here we are with Leah Block, and she's just absolutely flying. But talk about someone who's flying, and Laia Sands out in the Acciona Sainz car.
6.4 was the gap back to Leah Block. 6.5 is within tenths each time. Laia Sands with that. Look how beautifully clean the Acciona Sainz machine is. Are they going to clean up, though, is the question, isn't it?
Very nice, Andrew. Well, let's see if they clean up. I mean, Laia Sands, she is a safe pair of hands, isn't she?
She certainly is now. Laia has come on so much in her couple of years in this series. She really has. She is an expert on two wheels. I'd love to see her go at the Explorer Championship. Especially one male, one female rider, she would be handing it out. She's won multiple world championships and trials. She's a weapon, she really is. This is Clara Anderson, still behind Molly Taylor.
Yeah, such a battle going on there between them and up onto two wheels there.
That's the RXR machine. So the RXR machine has come back out. The Paddock has carried on. They're a lap down now, but they have continued just in case anybody else retires from the race. Molly Taylor and Anderson still so close together. Is Anderson going to use the hyperdrive? But they all use the hyperdrive in the same section. They're in that traction challenge, trying to get those extra points if they can. Anderson now right on the back. Here we go. This is into the water splash again. Up the inside, Clara Anderson is alongside now. This should get it done. Mud all over the screen. Contact. Neither of them can see each other at that point. Clara Anderson finally gets past, and I think the Veloce machine's damaged. Spin in the background. That's Clara Anderson's gone round. So Clara Anderson's gone round, and Molly Taylor won't be able to see her. Absolute carnage going off in the final here.
But she didn't get hit in the side there, and we're about to go through another Aqua Grande, and oh my goodness, it is so close. You can barely steer it there.
Massive problems. I think Anderson's got a mechanical problem with the car, but in the background, Taylor can't see. She's had to park it. It's gone. Leah Block. Block. Where's the Leah Block's in the background? Block is parked up in the last waypoint, number 7, top right of your screen. Block is parked.
Yeah, and Veloce just come round the side. I think they missed the waypoint, but they kind of came off-road back onto the track.
This is crazy. She can't carry on. This is absolutely crazy. Someone needs to tell her to stop. This is madness.
She can't see the track. She can't see where she's going. Into the bush.
Sorry, in the background, the RXR machine is still circulating, and so is the Carl Cox Motorsport machine and Leah Block. Over the line comes Acciona Sainz. Laia Sanz takes the win here. Fantastic performance by them. It's their second win of the year for Sanz and Ekstrom. And meanwhile, behind them, absolute carnage has kicked off. The rear lefters are completely collapsed. Puncture, wheel off, everything's hanging off the back of the App Cooper machine. Anderson battling to get this round to the finish line if she possibly can. You can see the flags at the bottom of the screen to tell you where they are. It's like a demolition derby. The RXR machine is a lap down, so they won't be able to make up many places here. Here it comes. Michaela Arlen-Kotlinski on board this. Archie's everything, absolutely everything has happened. And then the RXR machine doesn't look too bad. This is crippled. She's going to take it over the jump. This will hurt on the landing because the rear suspension is not in one piece. But Clara Anderson takes it over the line for them to pick up P2. Leah Block, bless her. We didn't see what happened, but parked out somewhere near waypoint 7. The Carl Cox Motorsport machine is at a standstill, and we don't... Molly Taylor is still moving on the map on the bottom right of your screen. Is she going to get round to the finish line? Where's Taylor? She surely can't see out the front of that car. Where's Taylor?
Where
we
is
need
she?
to see Taylor. Is she at the finish line?
And what route is she taking, more to the point? Because she was going very off-road a second ago, and so...
There it is,
there
it is. So they're still trying. She opens the door to try and see has she crossed the line? Yes, she has. So Taylor's made it over the line because in the background that's the damage from Molinaro's McLaren. So that's how we can ID where she is on the track. Oh my goodness me. Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Anyone who doesn't think electric racing is dramatic or has, you know, some action in it, they clearly have not watched Extreme E, because that final was next level.
I'm not going to lie, some of the qualifying races now is a bit like, meh. But that's Arlen Kotlinski has said about the steering. Look how much she's having to wrestle the steering. This has made up for everything that was slightly tamer than usual in Q2 today. Arlen Kotlinski is wrestling this car back round, but I'm trying to think, if she's a lap down, is she ahead now of Leah Block for Carl Cox Motorsport? I don't think she is just yet. So trying to drag it round to the finish.
I mean, any points matter at this moment, don't they? And about to go through the second water splash. And are we near Leah Block, we think, now about?
Oh, we need to see that. Look, we've got our active map in front of us, trying to see whereabouts on the track they are. Oh, well, we'll have to let these cars get round to the finish in their own time. Absolute carnage here in the final of the grand final in Sardinia. So RXR continue to try to get this car to the finish line.
A grimace on Arlen Kotlinski's face. I'm not surprised.
It's so physical in the car. When you think about the weight, just the sheer weight of these machines. If you've ever tried to drive your car, you know when you stall your engine on your road car and then you realise the power steering stops working, or if you've ever been towed in a modern car with power steering, it is almost impossible to turn the wheels. Now add into that the size and the dimension of the wheels and tyres on these cars. It's an incredibly tough job, an incredibly brilliant job done by Acciona Sainz there, who we just saw in the holding area. There's Leah Block. So that's Leah Block losing a position. It's RXR. I've done the right thing to drag it round because that puts them up one more place. And that's just a few more points, but it is advantage Acciona Sainz.
Isn't it just? I mean, talking about points, they have cleared up today, but just look at how much she's grimacing, how much she's trying to pull it round. And you never usually see this from either RXR drivers. They're usually so calm and collected, but oh gosh, I wouldn't want to be in her seat right now.
Over the line. She's done it. It's got the car round. They have got the car round. There's some 3 minutes 42 off the leader, but that might be the points that make the difference in the championship fight. Acciona Sainz are going to have edged them out by some margin here with the day they've had. The only thing we haven't seen is the Continental Traction Challenge to see which way those points are going.
Yeah,
whether or not they've been beaten by, if you remember, Andretti Autokilit took it in the redemption race. We don't know who's got that, so we'll try and find that out in a second. And they're still top. So Andretti is still top.
Oh, wow, okay.
So it's almost the perfect score for these guys. Yeah.
Almost perfect for Acciona Sainz, but Andretti have spoiled the party a little bit. However, with Carlos Sainz on site, I wouldn't mind going to his party tonight. Let's put it that way. He will be a happy man with how his team have performed, and a very clean car.
The gutting thing about double headers is you can't party on Saturday night.
Well,
They've
Carlos
got Carl
did.
Cox there, one of the best DJs in the world, and a boat with a nightclub on it. And you can't party on Saturday night because it's a double header. I might withdraw from day 2. And just, you know, let's go party. I mean,
you can't withdraw from day 2, Andrew. We've got a whole nother show to do.
There is that. There is that. There's Viestas, who looks after Matthias' social. Look at this start here, yeah. Christoph's, did he not use the hyperdrive off the line? I'll find out tonight. I'll drop him a line and see. He goes for the cutback look outside to inside, but where they've watered the run down to turn 1, can't see. Meanwhile, Ekstrom has come in hot around the outside. Him and Shire are doing DTM things in turn 1. And by now, look, with the visibility and the gap, it's just a case of edging it out. This was the move by Kevin Hansen.
Yeah, I loved that line.
But they're under investigation for missing a waypoint of 7. No, that'll be Taylor.
That was later when she was off-road. You couldn't see where she was going and she went into the bushes.
Yeah, super, super tricky. That was a wild, wild ride in the grand final. It really was. So that's the grand final done for round 7. Incredible action throughout, but a brilliant drive by Sands and Ekstrom to take the win.
What a race. Acciona Sainz, the winners here. Matthias, I'll come to you first. That was some start. How important was it to get out in front in a race like this?
I think the start was the key, and off the line I felt good, and then I pressed the hyperdrive, I looked right, and I saw it was Timo and the other guys on the right, so I decided to go for a long wide around outside and just hope that I would make it stick. And when I came out side by side with Timo, I must admit I was quite happy.
And then, Laia, for you, you just had to bring the car home. Meanwhile, there was complete chaos behind you. How much were you aware of what was going on?
Well, I knew, first of all, congrats to Matthias because he did an amazing job and he gave me the car in front and it was much easier for me. But anyway, I'm happy with the job. Then I start to hear that the gap was getting really big. So I just take it easy in the last corners to avoid dropping a flag. So I'm really happy for this victory, for all the team, that they made an amazing job.
It was amazing indeed. Congratulations. Well done. We'll let you enjoy the podium now. Congratulations.
Here is the result then of round 7 of Extreme E 2023. A DNF for Leah Block and Timo Scheider. Such a shame. They were both absolutely flying, but that's the way it goes sometimes. P4, RXR, they dragged that car around with no power steering to get some points out of somewhere. Hansen and Taylor, impossible for them to see in the Veloce machine, certainly for Taylor in the second portion of the race. Clara Anderson, Sebastian Loeb with a crippled car coming over the line for P2, but an almost perfect day. They just missed the 2 traction challenge points. Acciona Sainz, top qualifiers and winners of the grand final. Wow, wow, wow. Yeah, I mean, I love a good race. In fact, not the best race, but the action was unbelievable. When it unfolds like that, we really have to go there. I do enjoy that.
I've noticed, Andrew.
Yeah, I do enjoy that.
We went there, your energy levels get high, you're jumping
get
around.
Hyped, you know?
You do get hyped. But also what was so good to see is there was no crashes off that first bit, off the start. It was a pretty clean race.
Molly Taylor driving with the wipers, like just through the bushes. It's like, I'm gonna have a crack at this. I'm pretty sure it's over that way. She must have some sense of direction on her, because I want to know how she got round to the finish. I really do. Down to the podium, Laura Winters down there.
Round 7 in Sardinia, Italy. Let's begin the celebrations by welcoming our podium finishers to the stage. In 3rd place, Veloce Racing. In 2nd place, Abt Cupra.
Carlos Sainz on the right-hand side of the podium, the WRC and now Dakar legend. Absolutely loving that, and that was great to see. He was so excited, wasn't he?
Yeah, that's absolutely made my day. Just giving a little handshake. He's absolutely pumped about his team's performance this weekend in Sardinia, round 7. Oh gosh, wouldn't mind being him. Look at that smile.
He really is. I loved talking to him earlier, Jess, when we were asking him about the pressure, and he's going, "Oh, you can't do anything, but you want to give them the information, but you can't help. But it's good, but it's bad." And you could see it in his eyes, the pressure of being in there. You know, that's the team with his name on it. He's won plenty of things as a driver, but winning things as a team, a team owner. You have an Ekstrom in the car instead of him. He was injured in the Dakar Rally earlier this year, which is why he missed the first round. And then, you know what, I think the continuation of Ekstrom and Sands, they're clearly a brilliant pairing together.
Aren't they, Jess? We can't be too annoyed that he's not driving the car this time, although we know that he wouldn't mind doing it, and he does a pretty good job himself. But gosh, round 7 has not disappointed. It's my first time in this commentary box with you, Andrew, and it's been quite the ride.
Welcome, mate. Yeah, this is what it's like. Yeah, there we go. Top step of the podium and a win for Acciona Sainz in round 7. Carlos Sainz, I'm pretty sure, going to be in for a champagne shower. Here we go, now for the champagne. Carlos is running away. Don't let him get away. Go get him. He's off to the side.
And look,
celebrations
Clara
all round.
Anderson, yeah,
so good.
She's such a class act. She's such a smiley person in the paddock. I'm so pleased for her to be getting on that podium again. And yeah, look, all smiles on there. Oh, Carlos Sainz just running around the back of the podium. Laia Sands, look at that smile.
It was Laia that went to get him, so I'm glad somebody hunted him down, yeah. So fellow Spaniard hunting down Carlos to make sure he got the champagne shower.
And Seb Loeb, absolute legend, but he's usually quite cool and collected. He was absolutely pumped.
Here we go then, these are the championship standings after round 7, 136 points. What is the gap now? Oh, it's still RXR, it was worth them hanging on in there. 8 points back to Veloce. It's a fair old gap at the top of the table, very much advantage Acciona Sainz after a perfect day. But look at the roller coaster some of the other teams have had today. We're doing this all again tomorrow. Nothing is guaranteed. Acciona Sainz will know that. There won't be any of that champagne going down the hatch right now. They'll be getting prepped and ready for round 8.
Electric racing really at its finest. My goodness, Extreme E does not disappoint. And at the bottom of the table here, we have got McLaren, then Carl Cox and JBXE rounding it off. And there are our winners of round 7 in Sardinia. Tomorrow, we're doing it all again for round 8 in Sardinia. And it's going to be an absolute cracker. Are Acciona Sainz going to do it again and make it a perfect weekend?
They'd like to, wouldn't they? It'd be a good response to RXR's double win here earlier on in the season. I think people are going to be having, those that haven't had the day they wanted. I feel for RXR because it was obviously something tech on the car in the final. Same for Veloce there with the wipers. This is what we mean. It can go any way. It's still wide open, but it's a decent margin at the top.
Yeah, and our thoughts are absolutely with Tamara Molinaro and other McLaren driver, Emma Gilmore.
Emma we know has got a fractured rib. Tamara we're hearing is okay after a roll, and of course it remains to be seen whether or not McLaren can get back out. Look at the celebrations for Acciona Sainz. There's proper screaming going on down there. They're going to have less of a voice left than we are. The winners of the Ireland X Prix, round 7, Acciona Sainz, Matthias Ekstrom and Laia Sands. Great stuff then from round 7. Bit of dust, bit of mud, quite a bit of water thrown into the mix as well, and some fantastic racing. Q1, all sorts happened. Q2 seemed pretty tame by comparison, but we made up for all of that with some absolute carnage in the final. Look at this move from Ekstrom around the outside. That was what secured them the whole shot and really secured them the win. In the background, absolutely everything kicked off. We've had a brilliant day. We hope you've enjoyed watching as well. Thank you to Laura Winter on the ground. Jess Rogers here with me, Andrew Coley, and we are very much looking forward to doing this all again tomorrow. So don't miss round 8. Will Acciona Sainz be able to continue a perfect weekend, or will RXR Veloce fight back? Join us tomorrow and you'll see. Sardinia, brutal course on the drivers. Hold on tight, this is the Ireland X Prix. Looks to the inside, contact, runs up the back of Scheider. Oh, Hansen on 2 wheels. Molinaro sideways, gets launched. Ekstrom all the way round the outside to take the lead. Acciona Sainz, Laia Sands